Hi everyone, this is Frequency Bone Summer Music Connection 9, Video 5, in the Authenticity series, A Custom Job. There's been a lot covered in all the videos, which have been 4 now, and each one has certain very specific things to say. And if someone's inclined or caught by this particular subject matter, is keep thinking about it. Maybe there's a couple thoughts that come to you about what is authentic, what is authenticity. As a matter of fact, just the other day, I wrote down in my little notes here, I like paper better, but this was available. And if I can't write fast enough, sometimes I'll speak into it and get an idea. Or, be able to put an idea down at least in a recorded way. But I put authentic means something is what it is from the source in which it came. I'll say that again. Authentic means something is what it is from the source in which it came. That's kind of interesting, isn't it? So when a thought comes to me, if I've been incubating, so to speak, on a subject, then certain things will start to come and give me deeper insight. So, what is something is what it is? Well, a sparrow is what it is. It doesn't look around and say, shoot, I really want to be a blue heron. And I'm going to try to act like a blue heron, even though I'm a sparrow. Now, interestingly enough, I wonder if it was raised by blue herons, if it would pick up some of their traits. Because we've seen this in the animal kingdom, where different animals will get different, maybe escape from their parents or get lost, and some other animal might take on being the mother. It's amazing. And it might get some of those traits. Environment is very, very strong, isn't it? The influence that we have from our environment. Now there's a seen and an unseen aspect to environment. That's an interesting thought, but it's true. Sometimes we can't see all the things at play, but they get into us. Something might seem calm and collected, and we get out of the situation feeling like we're walking on a tightrope and the furthest thing from feeling calm or collected. So environment is very, very strong and has a big influence on us. But let's go back to this sparrow. In general terms, it's not going to look at the dog and think, oh man, I wish I could bark. Now, certain birds, even the local mockingbirds we have, they can start rattling off all sorts of sounds. And I'll hear it and I'll go, that's a funny sounding robin. And it's not a robin, it's the mockingbird mocking, so to speak, a robin. Because that's what certain birds can do. I have a parrot. And it can sound like my wife and it can sound like me. And human beings can do that. In certain situations, they might talk like someone else. Another situation, they might talk like another person. And it's very interesting. Or another aspect might come out of them that's not necessarily trying to be like someone else, but it's modifying their intonation, their rhythm, their quality of voice and delivery to suit the situation. So that could be very authentic. I feel at this point the baby's going to sleep, and I want to speak softly and make them feel safe so they can go into their natural state of sleep. Sometimes we can see something like a car part, and it says Toyota on it. You take it to a mechanic and they say, this is a fake. This is not an authentic Toyota part. Someone copied it, but there's something goofy with it here. And of course, in the age of email, we never know sometimes if the emails we're getting are authentic. There's a good example. There's a good modern day example. Oh, they're saying it's a billing company. Whoops! No, it ain't. And sometimes we find out the hard way because we fall on the bait. And nature does this too. In incredible ways, something will fake to be something else so it can catch some prey. So there's camouflage. There's being incognito. There's things that can chameleon its way into an environment. Fascinating, isn't it? But yet, when certain creatures can change their color and their texture to fit into the surroundings so they can be safe, or they can hide so the food they want to catch walks by and they go, ha ha. They probably don't do that little laugh beforehand. That wouldn't be very authentic. It's astounding that there's that kind of ability in the animal kingdom to do that, but human beings do it too. I'll let you discover that, and I'm sure you already have, in one way or another. But for the animal, that's authentic, even if it's faking. It was designed with all sorts of mechanisms, either for safety or to get food, for example, or for self-defense. Authentic means something is what it is. The sparrow, the squirrel, the skunk, the hippopotamus, the sequoia tree, they are what they are. The skunk doesn't go, man, I wish I had another self-defense system. I'm going to start throwing rocks instead of letting off a big gas bomb. You understand my point? Stay with it if you can, because it's important to know these things happen in the human being. Because the human being, because of its incredible gift of choice, it can be clever, foxy. Isn't it funny? Then we start using animal terms. Weasel someone out of some money. There's tons of examples, okay? That person was like a bear. The human being can think, I want to be like someone else. I'm going to try to be this person. I'm going to try to act like that. Well, if you're lacking confidence and you want confidence, probably hanging around some confident people, depending on the nature of where that confidence is coming from, source in which it came, the latter part of this little statement I wrote, some of that confidence could run off to you, come on to you, transfer to you. And this is why the private teacher doesn't just pass along techniques on embouchure and how to breathe and how to become a better sight reader. They create an environment which the student walks into. And depending on that teacher's attitude and where they're located about life and the significant uniqueness of each human being, they're not necessarily going to activate that person's authenticness. Because even if they're being authentic and saying an embouchure should look like this, the tongue should always be pointed this way in every range. It should never change. They probably are being sincere to what they are, but they haven't put together that other people might not be configured that way to be able to do what they're talking about. So the teacher needs versatility. Versatility. Either because they hurt themselves and had to really figure it out, which I did many years ago, on the physical level, and all of them that took about change and self-identity and, wow, my sound's different than it used to be. It's a big journey to go through that. If you live through it, it's great. You know a lot more on a lot of things. So there's that aspect, okay, that not everyone can do it. And if the teacher has had to go through things themselves, they know there's different ways to play and to approach subject matters of playing with. And so they build a variety of approaches, and they start to get sensitive to see what people need just by hearing them, seeing how they think. So a teacher also passes their knowledge, experience, and their pains or inspirations, maybe a little bit of both, to the student. So the teacher might be authentic, but they haven't put together the fact that everybody's different. They haven't put together that you'll ruin some people. Maybe that was part of their destiny at this particular time, to go through that and do something else. It's hard to say, but there have been some terrific players that thought they had to be something other than what they were, and they totally lost what they had. I've seen many players like this. Some teachers, unfortunately, think move this process along in people, which is a shame, but probably they thought they were being authentic and true to themselves and wanted to pass on what they really thought, and that if a person can't get this, they're not going to make it. Okay? and the person tried to be something they weren't, instead of taking little bits on board and trying to weave it in. Delicate balance, delicate balance. So the human being can actually go down a road that's not authentic and live a life of misery, trying to be something they're not. But they're thinking they need a sound like someone else or a accuracy like someone else, instead of just taking a little bit. Oh, that might be useful, a bit of that, not the whole thing. And then that phrase, why you're going to throw the baby out with the bathwater? That's what a student can start to feel like if they're having all this stuff imposed on them too quick in a short period of time, and they don't know what to do with it. And depending on what that stuff is that's being thrown at them, that could be a real tough situation for them to get out of. And some don't. So authentic. Authentic, 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 authentic. People think they want to improve another composer's writing. This has happened in romantic and classical music. And I'm not going to mention names, but a great composer might take a piece and go, you know what, I'm going to add some thickening into this. This orchestration needs to be better. And we can listen to it and go, yeah, maybe that is better. But maybe that wasn't the intention. Just because we like it a little bit better. Oh, if only this salad could have some guacamole on it, it would be so much better. Or more garlic, or more this. That's an individual thing trying to do something different with something. And you see a lot of people putting out their versions of Bordonis, or their versions of Bach cello suites, or Telemann flute sonatas, or any other kind of thing. And they want to show someone, here's where I breathe, here are my dynamics, here's some ideas for you that I do that you might not have thought of. So they're taking a salad that's already made, like an excerpt, and they'd say, look, I put garlic here, and then I might put a little deviled egg over here, and what do you think of it this way? Now, that's fine, as long as the person getting it understands, and I think a lot of people do, but I'd like to state this again, because people get very frozen into ruts, we all do, and we think, this is an authority on this subject, I must listen to them. Yes and no. And you know what? It's all a journey, isn't it? And if we can actually accept that it's a journey, I think we'll even have a better shot at opening up the authenticity that is innately in us. So this was I didn't expect all this to come out this way, but an interesting thought about this. Authentic means something is what it is from the source in which it came from. So I think on that note, it's time for today's meditative longing.